What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us tonight for this quick and unplanned show, kind of just random. But I really wanted to get the opportunity to get Mark on a show with me or with me and David. Unfortunately, it's a little late, and like I said, it was kind of spur of the moment. So yeah, still we found a way to make it work, and I'm happy to have you on. But I wanted to give you a big shout out because your channel, the Black Bear Podcast, is one that I truly like to listen to, and so I want people to know about you and hear about you, and go check you out. You know, give you a subscribe button hit, and yeah, you guys got some really good content over there and some good characters. So how you doing tonight, Mark?
Look, first and foremost, I appreciate you having me on. And like you said, look, we just like to talk Chicago Bears, like you do in everyday life without all the gimmicks and all of the censored speaking, if that's how I'm gonna go with it. But yeah, we just finished up a 3-hour show, and look, it got heated, you know what I mean? Because is this team ever not, when you're talking about the Bears, are you not ever emotional when you're talking about the past that we've been through and the future that we hope to get to? So look, the Black Bear Podcast, one word, no spaces. Again, that's the Black Bear Podcast, one word, no spaces. So appreciate you having me on, Posky.
For sure, man. And yeah, anybody who hasn't checked you out, definitely go to at the Black Bear Podcast and check out some of those podcasts, man. Just the other night, I was searching around for some live shows just to hop in for a little bit and chat and participate, and I found these guys just going over their top 10 quarterback list, and one of them had Jordan Love at number 2. I was like, you're crazy, insane. Wasn't even a Packers fan though, but it's just like, man, I don't know. I don't think he even cracks the top 10 personally. And I know I'm biased, but when I try and approach these things, I made a list. I had 10 guys that I thought were better than Jordan Love. So I don't know. It just kind of shocked me, threw me off guard. It's like, man, that, I hope it doesn't go that way, but I don't think it will.
So what I would say to that, and for those who don't know me, I am in Wisconsin. I am in Packer country. So I hear all the Jordan Love hype. And I hear it and I see you. So, but this is what I would say to that, even to Packer fans. This is what I say every day when I go to work. Listen, they were 9-8. That's not a world-beating record. That's not a record that you hang your hat on. It was a winning record, nonetheless. But you were 9-8, and you beat the Cowboys. Me personally, I felt the Cowboys, and I promise you, I said this to a Packer fan before the game happened. You're either going to get that dominant Cowboys team, or you're going to get that Cowboys team that will roll over and show their true colors. And that's what we saw. Like, there's no in between.
And Mark, it happened all season. So the thing I kept saying about the Cowboys is like, okay, they're either blowing teams out, or if they get down 10 points, they are not winning that game. They just can't. And so as soon as they were down 10 points, I was like, yeah, this team's very one-dimensional. It only knows how to win one way. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. But yeah, I wanted to bring you in and I wanted to talk Bears with you. So recently the news is that we went out and traded for 2 defensive linemen, Darrell Taylor and Chris Williams. And I had put together a Darrell Taylor video. It's short. It's only 2 minutes long. Okay. And yeah, a lot of people like it. And so I wanted to show it real quick to you and everybody else. And then I want to get your opinion on Darrell Taylor a little bit. So here, let's show this video real quick first.
Rookie and how versatile he can be in coverage. He can play man and he can blitz.
Second down and 8. Off the fake. Prescott under pressure again. White winds up and he's got White on the run.
working against right tackle Kelvin Beachum and just beats him to the outside. Gets
He's a speed rusher, and he just flies up the field. And then when Purdy,
depending on the route. 2nd and 10. Dodge spins. Taken down. Now, Darrell Taylor, he's outside the frame. He gets chipped by Zach Ertz. Kelvin Beachum, he's supposed to sit inside, so that's.
All right, so yeah, that was a little Darrell Taylor video right there, and I don't pretend to know every team's roster up and down, and so I got to say I did not know much about this guy right when we traded for him, but I've looked up a little bit of stuff and seen some videos and whatnot. I want to get your thoughts on the trade itself and the player. What do you think of that?
So refresh my memory. That was a 6th round pick, correct?
Yes, I
or
believe.
not pick, but we traded the 6th round
Yes.
pick.
Yes.
Look, so I like it. I wasn't surprised when Ryan Poles made a move, especially after the Chris Williams pick, which I'm sure we'll get into in a second. But Matt Eberflus went into a press conference. He was asked a question about the D-line, and he specifically talked about the defensive tackles. I know Taylor is in the D tackle, but he specifically talked about the D tackle. The way he spoke, you kind of knew that he was going to make that Poles would make a move because they weren't happy with the depth there. They not just the depth, but they just weren't happy with the entire D-line room as a whole. Because we're talking about Hardy and Dom Rob making this team. We're debating those two guys. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. I do like Taylor. He's a speed rusher. Montez Sweat is more of your power guy. And in this 4-3, I feel like you need a power guy, your Khalil Mack, your Montez Sweat, your big dog. And on the other side, you need your Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati, or in this case, your Darrell Taylor from Seattle. So I do think he fits our scheme, and he was so happy. If you listen to his press conference, he was so happy to be.
So I actually made a press conference video of his press conference with some highlights underneath it, and I was going to upload it, but I reached out to you first instead. So I'll probably do it after this show because I got it ready to go. And usually, I listen to like the first 20 seconds just to edit the sound and kind of then put it together. And so when I upload it, it's the first time I'm watching it too. So no, I haven't listened to it in its entirety yet, but I did read some things about him. Yeah, definitely being excited to be here, it seems like, up front.
We needed it. I don't know what your 53-man roster was projected to be, but I was lacking depth because there were just not players that I wanted to keep on this roster over other positions. You know what I mean? So we definitely needed him.
It's interesting because, like, talking with my co-host just privately, David, he said the exact same thing you did. He goes, just the addition of these two guys right before the roster cut. I mean, you're obviously not going to trade picks away to just cut guys in 3 days. So those are solidified roster spots now. And it just says something when they're in camp and they see these guys. It's just not enough for them. And it's funny because, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of people were very optimistic on guys like Daniel Hardy. Daniel Hardy or just Hardy? I don't know what his first name is.
It's Daniel. It
is okay, yeah. And so, like, it's interesting because we as fans, like, we want to be homers and we want all the players to succeed. We want a 53-man roster of just A+ guys, but we're not critical, and we're also not there at every single practice. I felt like a lot of their minds were probably made up about a lot of guys. And like, so, okay, cool. You made a nice performance at the very last game of the preseason, but I'm not sure how much that necessarily matters for certain guys. It's funny. My friend's cousin, he made the Detroit Lions preseason roster one year as a linebacker, and he got interception in game 3, and yeah, he never made a final roster or anything, or was never back on. So it just is what it is, and so I think it definitely speaks volumes of their confidence in their ability to judge the talent on the team.
Well, and yeah, there's some things that I have to push back on when it comes to Ryan Poles' moves. Like, I know you saw it, you probably saw the tweet, or you heard the press conference that I heard as well. It sounds like Dom Robb is going to make this team. That's what it sounds like. It's not official yet, but it sounds like he's going to make this team. You can't tell me Dom Robb did anything outside of that first or second snap in preseason week 1, and he stuffed around. I know you know what I'm talking about, the play I'm talking about.
I do, yeah. He did not really pop up much more after that, though. You're right.
Exactly, but it looks like he's probably going to make this team over Dom Robb. So, I mean, I just question some of the move, and it's gonna be like this, like Travis Gibson and Terrell Lewis last year. It's gonna be like this. We're gonna question some of the moves Ryan Poles makes, but
it's funny because it's like in the past we haven't had this much competition for the back end of our roster. Like, this is a little different, but this is what it's supposed to be like. You know what I mean? The good teams, the guys want to make the team. There is a lot of competition, so it's just a little different for us, I think, because we're not used to it. But yeah, it's nice. It's kind of refreshing in a way.
Look, the way I look at it is the best guys need to play, and it seems like Ryan Poles, and look, granted, if I was in Ryan Poles' position, I'd put a lot of more. I give the guys I drafted a little more leeway than others, and I get it, a little biasness, but I just can't see a world where Dom Robb makes this team over not Greg Hardy, but Daniel Hardy. And to Taylor, because we gave up a 6th round. We had 3-6, right? I think so. We had 3-6.
I believe so, yeah. And 2 2s. I could look it up.
And we gave up one for Hardy, not Hardy. Golly, we gave up one for Taylor, and we gave up one for, I think it was a pick swap for Chris Williams. And look, I get it. Like, Poles, like, you're gonna do something. You can't go into the season with what you had, but if you're gonna make moves like that, let the guys stay that have showed you they can perform at least a little bit against weaker talent. You know what I mean? I feel like players like Dom Robb did nothing against weaker talent, and he's gonna make this team.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
You don't think so?
I'm not sure. I think the need for that position is definitely there. So I think maybe they're just looking to, fill that position with a lot of guys just to be able to cycle through them, because there's definitely an opportunity on the opposite side of Sweat for someone to eat. You know what I mean? The thing that's interesting about Taylor to me is when I was putting that video together, I just kind of went back on last year's sacks and then the year before, and I kind of pulled some of the sack fumbles from that one. And, that's very primitive, because at the end of the day, I'm just looking at his very best plays, right? The one sack he got here and there and whatnot. And that's why stats can be misleading. That's why videos about just those stats can be misleading too, because, you truly have to watch a full game to know whether a guy can stuff the run, whether he made a mistake here and there. That stuff doesn't pop up on the stat sheet. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, but situations do. So I found that a couple of his sacks were like 6 seconds left in the half when it's a Hail Mary opportunity, or like 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter when the game's over. And it's like there's like 3 or 4 of those that popped up. So it was just kind of interesting that, okay, so yes, he got 21.5 sacks over 3 years. That might be a little bit inflated due to the situations where he got those sacks. So I don't know. That's one thing that kind of popped up to me that I noticed. But he definitely a guy that's shown he can play in the NFL, get sacks, and if the opportunity's there, hopefully he takes advantage of it, right?
And context matters, and I'm glad you brought it up, because context matters. And shout out to J2K. Those graphics were dope, and they
They
definitely were.
do.
First
If
of all,
they
this
keep it,
whole setup, like I said at the beginning, I appreciate you having me because this whole setup is, I love it. But context matters. You can't just go out there and get empty calorie passing yards or empty calorie receiving yards, and then come out of that situation and act like you are a world beater. Look, we all know what Taylor is coming here to do and what he's coming here to be. He's a depth piece. I don't even think he's going to start for us. He will make this roster for sure, but I think what he brings is something that our younger talent on his team just they're not at that level yet. You know what I mean? I don't know what number pick Taylor was drafted at, but
he was a second rounder
so
in
he was a second
2020.
round pick. He's going against let's say look, Austin Booker, 5th rounder. I know a lot of Bears fans are high on him, but like I was just saying on my show, on my episode, give him some time. Don't try to force these guys to develop earlier than they need to, because it just stunts their growth. So Booker, 5th round pick. Who else is he battling with? DeMarcus Walker. I don't remember what round he was drafted, but we've seen him. You know what I mean? We've seen him. His round doesn't matter because we saw what he's been doing for us last. It's not good enough. Who else is he battling with? I mean, Daniel Hardy. Maybe Hardy can give him a run for his money. But what my point is, the guys we have on this roster opposite of Montez Sweat, which Taylor will be opposite of Montez Sweat. He's a small dude. The move, it could turn out to be something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yannick Ngakoue, would you prefer him over Taylor?
No,
We
I
may
don't think
still
I
go
would.
after Yannick.
Yeah, and I mean they did last year, but that's the thing. It's a band-aid. At least with Taylor, there's some upside. He's young. I know he's in his 4th year, so yeah, if he does good, you might have to pay him a little bit of money. But like with Yannick, he's been on so many teams now that you could tell his game is just one-dimensional. Period, and that's a very selfish way to play. And like I said, it pops up on the stat sheet. It gets you some millions of dollars on your contract, but the team might not necessarily respect you because you're not in it on the tough plays where it doesn't appear on the stat sheet. You know what I mean?
You want some
So
tackles for loss from him.
yeah, exactly, and some of that extra effort, so to speak. But
extra effort, yep.
But it's we recently on a show we did our season predictions, and we just went through the whole schedule and just game by game by game by game kind of talked about win or loss. And it's funny because me and David, we got to the same result but in 2 different paths. But I want to know what your win-loss prediction for the season is, and and some of Caleb's statistic predictions too. I want to see where you're at with all that.
So I did an episode on this. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the Black Bear Podcast, one word, no spaces. Look, Caleb. I'll start with the team. I'll start with the team before I get to the Golden Goose. I am a trenches guy. I respect the trenches. I think the game starts and ends in the trenches, and I don't think we address the trenches good enough. I don't know the difference between Cody Whitehair and Lucas Patrick and Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton. You know what I mean? I don't know the difference. I can't see it.
Still got to see it. But to that point, real quick, it is interesting because typically these teams build from inside out. What the Bears did was a little bit unorthodox in the sense that they built from the secondary and the wide receivers, and now they're going to have to focus on in. But what that does is like, the easiest way to implode an offense is, at the most critical time when you need a clutch play on a 3rd down, when the quarterback makes an amazing throw, wide receiver makes an amazing catch, and there's a little yellow flag thrown out there, and it's offensive holding, back the fuck up 10 yards, try that again. I mean, we feel it as fans. Imagine feeling it being out there doing it. It sets a tone. So I think that's why typically you want to build inside out to not have some of that talent out there play wasted plays due to stupid holding calls and stuff.
Right. Now, with that being said, just because I'm not a fan of the way Ryan Poles is building this team, does not mean I'm not optimistic. You know what I mean? So,
Oh,
yes,
it's working. It's still working, but it's just an unorthodox approach, is what I was saying.
yes, sir. Now, and I'm right there with you in lockstep. I just want to let people know that just because I prefer it this way, doesn't mean. Look, I love Ken Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I'm so happy that Caleb Williams got those weapons. Now let's focus on the team aspect though before we get into Caleb though. So
Season prediction,
exactly.
I'm not going to let you off without a number here. You made me do it on your show.
Look, I'll give you a number. It is complicated when you give these season numbers out. So look, I'll give you two numbers. I'll give you two sets of numbers. You got the 10 plus, and Sam, yeah, that's what I was laughing at. Sam A says 17-0. I love it. But look, you got your 10 plus wins, right? You got the 10 plus wins, 10-7. Caleb Williams being Caleb. You only get there if Caleb, you only get 10 plus if Caleb is who we think he is. You know what I mean? 7, 8 Super Bowls, whatever, that's down the line. I'm saying this year, you only get to 10 plus wins if Caleb Williams is doing what we believe he can do. And if he's not, I can guarantee you, we're not getting 10 wins. We're not getting 10 wins. I'm going to say on a Caleb Williams based season, I guess, give me 10-7. Give me 10-7. Now, if Caleb falls short, and I'm gonna let you jump in here, Paulski. If Caleb falls short of that number of his potential in year one, this is just year one. We're not talking about what he can be in 6-7 years. He's 22 years old. Like, come on now. Look, it will be a struggle. It will be a defensive season, and the offense will struggle.
So 9 wins wouldn't be a good season for Caleb?
For Caleb, we're talking about the team right now, Paul.
Okay, the team.
I'll give you my Caleb number.
So with that being said, let me throw this at you. First of all, we both wound up at 9-8. But I was like, hey, but if this one game, they pull off and win, that's how you get to 10. Like, you know what I mean? But I think we're in the same ballpark, essentially. We're not predicting two different things here. But let me throw this at you. Cam Newton, his rookie year, over 4,000 yards passing, over 600 yards rushing. They had Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams on that team. They had Greg Olsen. They had Jeremy Shockey as his backup. They had Steve Smith Sr.
Oh my God, you preaching.
What was their record?
I don't remember. What was that?
6-10.
That's tough.
But then I think the next year they wound up going to the Super Bowl. Maybe a year or two into Cam Newton's career they wound up going to the Super Bowl. But I remember Greg Olsen being on Waddle and Sylvie and saying, "Well, in 6 of those games we were in it." You know what I mean? So we could have easily been 12-4, and we felt that way. And so, like, yeah, these games go different ways. And that's what I'm saying. I think we're predicting kind of the same thing here. 9 wins, 10 wins. It's close. I don't see 11, 12 wins. Some of these predictions get pretty high up there. I'm more cautious, but yeah. But it's funny because you don't know how the season's going to play out. So I would say that's still a successful rookie season stat-wise, yet the team record is something else.
So let me touch on the team aspect, and then let's jump right into Caleb Williams individually and what he can do. But so I think that I think 10 is not far-fetched if Caleb can do what we think he can do.
Yeah, if he takes it over the top. Yeah, it's funny because we drafted 2 offensive guys in the top 10 of this draft, right? So at some point we're going to need to lean on the offense here a little bit. And if we do and it works out, sure, 10 wins is not off the table necessarily. But somebody today, I was at my friend's house for his daughter's birthday, and he's a lifelong Bears fan. He goes to the games all the time. So does his older brother. And his older brother pitched this at me. He goes, I think they get 11 wins, but still miss the playoffs because of how hard this damn division is. I was like, whoa, that's a take right there. That's a take. But so maybe not that drastic, but at 9 wins, at 10 wins, could there be a scenario where you still don't make the playoffs?
Definitely at 9 wins. I think 9 wins, you can not guarantee we're not going to get lucky like the Packers did. You know what I mean? And we all know once you're in, you're in. And all bets are off once you're in. And that's what happened with the Packers. I don't think if 9 wins can definitely make you miss the playoffs. So I don't think that should play a role in firing Matt Eberflus. And I know I'm talking about Matt, but I don't think that should play a role in making any drastic decisions. If you're gonna make those decisions, I think you should have it based on a different criteria, because 9 wins is 9 and 8. Just it doesn't even, didn't we make the playoffs with Mitch at, was it 8-8 or 8-9?
I don't think it was 17 games yet. I'm not
so
sure.
It was 8-8 then.
Yeah, it was the last seed. I think there was a year like that. I'd have to look it up. I can't be sure. But it's interesting because we are in a very tough division, right? So 9 win teams nowadays, that's pretty much 500. So it's like even 10-win teams, I think, might have a chance to kind of miss the playoffs if the division's good. I mean, if you're third in the division, then your record has to be better than every other third in a division team. You know what I mean? So
what makes this division so tough, Paulsky? And I hear that a lot, and I agree to a certain extent. But I feel like I said, I'm up north. I'm in Packer country. I'm in Packer Nation. What makes that Packer team, our big brothers or little brothers, so to speak, because we're a charter franchise, what makes them so scary? Like, I don't get it. Like, Jordan Love was good for a half of a season. He was not good all of the year. What makes them so scary?
It's not even about the players per se, because there's a lot of talent over all the rosters. I mean, Minnesota's kind of struggling a little bit with it, but still they have a lot of high spots. What it is it's the coaching in this division is very, very good. So when you look at the Lions, Ben Johnson staying for another year is probably the biggest factor with their success this year. And so I think they're going to continue to do well because their offensive coordinator, man, that guy should have taken a head coaching job this year, and he decided to stay. So, that consistency there's most likely going to continue. I don't believe in Dan Campbell in the long run, because that rah-rah stuff only really works if you're winning. Once you start losing, nobody wants to be club dub when you're 0-4. You know what I mean? We've been there. So, yeah, nobody likes that. But Matt LaFleur, I think, is very underrated. I think he's a pretty good coach, and I like Kevin O'Connell in the Vikings too, but their quarterback situation is not very good. I said Justin Jefferson would probably have to get like 2,500 yards for that team to be able to win games. But yeah, I think all around there's a lot of every team is pretty well off with their coaches right now, so I think that makes it kind of hard to compete. And yeah, I think they've shown that they're going to win a lot of games. The Lions won double digits. The Packers have, in the last couple of years, they've had years where they do that. So I don't know. I think Jordan Love is fairly average. Like, I think he's a total product of the Matt LaFleur system, and none of their receivers had over 800 yards, yet he still had 4,000. That means he spread it around. He was just following orders, so to speak, and the system was kind of working. But I don't know. That's how I feel about him. But I think they could continue that too. They're just effective, efficient.
I'm just looking at the chat, and I see a lot of Matt LaFleur love, Paulsky. I don't mean that but I see a lot of Matt LaFleur. And look, I liked Matt LaFleur when he was in Tennessee. I liked him I thought when the Packers hired him, that was a great hire. But come on now, let's remember, the coach doesn't play these games. You can draw it up, and we've seen it. You know what I mean? We've seen Jordan Love now. Remember when Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott came into the league? We hadn't seen them yet. You know what I mean? And they dominated, both of them. They dominated as rookies. Now Dak came down to earth, and you know what I mean? It seems like he's a product of his good team, his good roster. But my point being is we've seen Jordan Love now. We've seen what they do, what they like to do, where they like to go with the football. I got to see it again. And it's not just Jordan Love. I don't want to seem biased because I'm a Bears fan. CJ Stroud is on my list of I got to see it again too. You know what I mean? You're not going to come into this league and do one thing, one season. Daniel Jones had one good year. That's why they gave him $40 million.
You know, you point to guys like Nick Foles, that I know his first year he didn't start the whole year, but the second year in his career, when he did start the whole year, I think he had 28 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And he never, ever came close to that again. That's not who he was. I always say it takes 3 good years to truly evaluate a quarterback and know exactly what you have in a guy and have a good idea of what his ceiling is. And to be honest with you, that timeline exists because of the contract timeline. All this stuff lines up with financials at the end of the day too, right? So like Jared Goff is costing them money, but at the end of the day, Jared Goff is playing the best he's played. But I always say the Rams literally got rid of him in order to be able to win one, right? So how much faith do I have in him in the long run? Not really. However, he did get close last year. Same thing with Kirk Cousins. I always said, like, okay, at the end of the day, he's just Kirk Cousins. And what happened? You're in a playoff game, it's 4th and 8, and you throw a little 3-yard pass to the tight end and hope he makes a play. Like, meanwhile, Justin Jefferson's there. Like, it just throw it up to him. Even have the balls to do that. But it's like, that's what you're going to get from a guy like that gets, stats during, during dead time, essentially, when the teams are behind and stuff like that. He's done it his whole career, so he looks better than he actually is. But, yeah, and then Jordan Love, they just paid recently, too. So it's interesting because when that happens, year after year, you start having to do it with less pieces. You don't get much more help because you're taking them more money. And so some of these guys out there, like Dak Prescott, got paid. And but their offense was decent. So, I mean, he's a bad example, but I can't believe Kirk Cousins got $180 million. Like, that shocks me.
But see, like I said, I am in the heart, and so I am in Madison, Wisconsin. I heard what it was like week 0 through, or let's say week 1 through 6, week 1 through 7. I heard it. I know what the rhetoric was surrounding Jordan Love and even Matt LaFleur. Even Matt LaFleur now, Packer fans are still iffy on his play calling. But what I feel like Bears fans respect them more than they respect themselves, which is kind of crazy to me. I guess it makes sense because what Aaron Rodgers did to us for so long. But I am telling you, no other quarterback. When's the last time you've seen a quarterback get paid the money he got paid after a half of a season? He was not good week 1 through 7.
That's what I mean. It's got a lot of potential to fail still. It does. I hope it does. However, it's only like a 3-year guarantee, so it won't sink him that bad. It's not like he signed a 6-year deal. But it's funny. When you were saying that, I just thought back to a moment in the series The Last Dance about Michael Jordan. I'm sure you've seen it, right? And there's a moment in it where they were talking about Kobe entering the league. And Kobe was playing, and he was going to go up against Jordan or something. And they're like, no, you don't want to do that. Like, you don't want to piss him off, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, everybody's fucking afraid of this guy. He's just like everybody. But he had really beat down the entire NBA mentally to the point where they didn't even want to fuck with Jordan. You know what I mean? And so Kobe earned Jordan's respect by playing him hard, getting in his face, doing all the things that nobody else wanted to do. And it's like, I kind of feel sometimes like that with the Packers too. It's like they have beat us down for a while. And we are naturally afraid of them no matter what kind of roster they have and whatnot. Like, it's just there. It's like that PTSD. But yeah, I mean, if Caleb is that guy, if Caleb is a Kobe, you'll be like, why? Let's go beat them. You know what I mean? And that's what I hope happens. And I hope we finally get their number.
Look, I didn't pick the Bears to beat the Packers in my schedule release episode either. So look, but it just because we all know things happen when we play against Green Bay. People forget how to play football when we play against Green Bay. So a lot of weird things happen, but like Sam H in the chat, and I'm watching your chat a lot, Posky. So I'm seeing the vibes that's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
He said, what have we won yet, Mark Rob? Poles is 0 for versus Green Bay. Look, I don't know what you think of Justin Fields, but Justin Fields has a big hand in that. Not only that, but we won 3 games in a rebuilding year, a major rebuilding year for Ryan Poles. That was going. You got to chalk those both up. We weren't going to beat Green Bay that year. There's no chance. I think Rodgers was still there. Maybe last year was our chance to catch them once or twice, and we lost 17-9. Go ahead, Posky.
In his second year, so that first year, Justin started halfway through the season. I mean, this is just from pulling highlights. It's funny because I know all this. So that was the I Own You game. That was Justin Fields' first start. And so we lost that one. Justin Fields' second year, that first game, I believe it was an opener against Rodgers still. That one we had a chance to win. I remember
they blew us out in that game, right?
No. It came down to like a one score win. But then the second game against them wasn't good, and then last year. But that's Fields versus Green Bay.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Fields versus Green Bay is a little bit different because he didn't get there. But it's true though. We still haven't beaten them. Like, still got to, it's hard to talk change without changing.
No, I see what you mean. Fields has played the Packers more than Poles have. Fields was here his first rookie year under Pace and Nagy, and then Poles. So Poles has only had 2 seasons against the Packers, right? One of those seasons being a rebuilding season. I don't know if we expected us to be anybody that year, but then his second season was last year. They killed us week 1. Obviously, we all know that. We weren't ready to play. We weren't ready to play against the next 3 teams we played that year. But then we played them again in week 17 or 18, and they beat us 17-9.
Yep.
And if you look, all in all, I'm pretty confident in what we can do against the Green Bay Packers based on what they have. They're not a scary team to me. I get it. 9-8. I don't know why 9-8 scares anybody, but I get it. When they beat on you so much, you could be a little weary.
Yeah, definitely. But at the end of the day, we're coming in kind of hot this year, and like there's a lot of hype. But then at the end of the day, it's like it's not just hype because we haven't really pushed our chips all in on anything. We've been reaping the benefits of a master trade Poles made. I mean, Caleb Williams was free. Our pick was pick 9. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we're an 8-8 team that's adding a first overall pick. And I want to play this quick video for everybody because Caleb Williams just looked really good to me. So let's check this out.
Williams a deeper drop this time.
All that, but if he can set his feet just a little bit more, he had enough time. Nice job avoiding here.
Evades the pressure, stepping up, off platform.
He does this so well, he typically makes the first guy miss. Now steps up. Now just set your feet and gather.
Position here from the 48. He's looking downfield.
How he just bails out of the pocket here. And this is the toughest throw you
Nothing there. Spins away. Throws.
Throw it to your left.
Away from the arm side, right?
And he does it.
Off platform. Away from the arm side. Great job to improv yet again by Williams. The local product. Improv with those feet. Keep the play alive. Yep, out of bounds, clearly. Williams, pressure coming. He felt it.
Look, the
feel like I'm on ESPN or something. Golly.
Yeah, just some little videos we have on the channel. So, man, I know it's preseason, and I don't usually put too much stock into preseason, but you go out there and you just see the kid out there against other NFL talent, and I know it was their second and third guys, but still, regardless, it's still better than college, and he's just still looking like he looks, and it just seems like they talk about the game slowing down for people a lot. Caleb seems to be processing things very, very quickly and efficiently, and yeah. So what do you expect from him?
So, Paulski, I know this gonna be putting you on the spot a little bit, but that's what we do in the business we're in. You give me your grade for that game you just showed me, and then I'll go after. What would you grade Caleb Williams on that game, the Bengals game?
A solid A.
You gave him a solid A.
B plus A, yeah. I from the things I saw, like the sack, for example, that was Nate Davis. Like, fuck Nate Davis, okay? So I can't really blame Caleb for that too much. And it's like, it is preseason. I like the fact that, in that game they went 3 and out first 3 drives. Well, first 2 drives they went 3 and out. Second drive they got 1 third down. But then on 2nd and 3, Khalil Herbert got stuffed in the backfield because Nate Davis couldn't pull around and grab his guy. Fuck Nate Davis. So that put us in a bad position. Then he hit DJ Moore on the hands on 3rd down. The corner made a good play and just got in there and kind of swatted it a little bit. So that wasn't anything wrong. And it's just, for the situation being what the situation is, I like the fact that he got a little bit looser at the end and tried some stuff and made some plays and made it look good and just made it happen. And, yeah, it was flashy, but it was nice. I like how he doesn't take negative plays. He's always looking to try and even just throw that thing at the last second before he goes out of bounds. So just little things like that. And then he looks comfortable and he looks like he has some command over it. And so just eye test wise and everything. Yeah. B plus A, I think there's a lot of good stuff.
So I'm seeing some B's. I'm seeing some B's in the chat. You said B plus A, correct? Look, I gave him a grade on my show. I gave him a C plus, and then after watching the all 22, I gave him a C. It went down after I watched the all 22. Look, I get it, rookie quarterback, this and then the third, but you can't. And Bapalski, I know you said 2 3 and outs. There was 3 straight 3 and outs, 3 straight 3 and outs. You play the Green Bay Packers that the people in the chat are high on. That ain't gonna be good enough. You know what I mean? They didn't make us pay. The Bengals didn't make us pay. We went 3 straight 3 and outs, but that can't happen.
I don't know. I thought on the 3rd drive we started back at the end zone, and then on 3rd down there was a flag. I don't know. I could be wrong. I have to go back and check. But yeah, I think we might have gotten 1 first down on the 3rd drive, and then went 3 and out right after that. But regardless, it's pretty close to it. I'm trying to argue little details, but yeah, no, sure, it can't happen. But it's the first outing out there, and at least he didn't get his head down.
My thing with Caleb, I loved his pocket work. He's comfortable there. He steps up in the pocket. He does want to throw the ball. You know what I mean? His footwork is pretty okay. At the end of the day, you don't score points off footwork and stepping up in the pocket. You got to make something happen. Whether it was 2, let's just say it was 2 3 and outs. Bosky, that's unacceptable. We can't see 2 3 and outs. And I'm a hard guy. I'm a hard coach. I played football for many years. I was a linebacker and I was a running back. I played a lot. I played in college. I think it was 3 for me. But you just can't have that, especially against backups or third stringers. I don't care who was out there. The starters weren't out there, at least not all of them. You can't have that. Not just him, though. It wasn't just him. Like you said, Nate Davis gave up a sack in that game, correct? We were forced to play him all the entire first half, not just the first quarter. We had to play him the whole first half, and they had 1 drive, right? I think they had 4 or 5 drives, and they had 1 drive that looked pretty decent. even the drives that were good, Posky, listen to me. I don't like the fact that he had to maneuver throughout the, like, I get it. You can do that. I don't want to see that. I don't need to see that right now. You know what I mean? As a wide receiver, get open against second stringers and third stringers, not just second and third string, but we heard reports the Bears were killing them all, or they practiced against them one time, right? It was the Thursday.
Yeah, it was one practice, and they picked him off a couple times.
We picked off. Oh, they picked off Caleb a couple times.
No, Burrow. We picked off Burrow a couple times.
Burrow a few times, and I get it's one practice. All I heard from, and I'm sure you heard the same thing from a Bengals beat reporter. The Bears and Caleb looked fantastic. We looked really fucking good. That performance I saw from the first team offense was not an A. It was not an A for me. Not even a B for me. I'm a Caleb guy. I love Caleb Williams. I always wanted the Bears to move on from Justin. Not a Justin hater, but I wanted Caleb to come in here because I saw what he could do. I did not need to see him doing the theatrics in that moment in time. I didn't need to see that. I want to see 3-step drop, boom, hit your guy. You know what I mean? And I get it. It's not all on him. Like you saw the DJ, like you mentioned, the DJ Moore slant. The cornerback was just all over DJ Moore. Maybe DJ Moore should have had more separation, being a 82 or $110 million player. You know what I mean? Maybe he should have more separation against a backup cornerback. But all in all, there was one drive that looked good, and I can't give him a B for that. I gave him a C. It was a C. I'm not saying he's gonna struggle against the Titans, but that particular game and highlight, it just was not what I wanted it to be, especially after the Bills game. I thought the Bills game was a lot better.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I guess I respect everybody's opinion, even if we disagree. But like for me, it's just it is preseason. I always kind of bring myself back to that. I'll judge him a lot more critically during the season. I'll probably apply more of your style of or point of expectations during the regular season. But just keeping in mind that it is preseason, I try and focus on little positives, little growth, things like that. I do like the fact that we weren't able to get the ball in the end zone. And that time we were finally, you know what I mean? We finally broke that little thing. So that's a little victory. You can check that off the box, like little things like that. And so, I don't put too much on these guys. Like I said, it was kind of cool to see the flash, especially for highlight video reasons and whatnot. A lot of people love that stuff too, but I hear you. Consistency is what it's about. Like we got the flash from Justin Fields, and we all know what one great play looks like, but it's consistency that matters in the league. You can either play or you can't play. It was funny. I was trying to put in the playoffs once, I was trying to put together a Joe Burrow video, and I was like, okay, let's look up Joe Burrow highlights. I'm just looking for like passes over 20 yards, and I couldn't really find one. It's just like 6 yards, 8 yards, 4-yard pass, 7-yard pass. It's like he's cutting you with a knife that's a little bit sharper than Tom Brady had.
It's beautiful though, isn't it? I love that. I'm a huge Tom Brady fan, and that's what he did. That's what he did. I love to see that from the pocket. You can't even touch me. I don't care how bad my O-line is. I won't let you get close to me because that ball will be out of my hands. I get it. He's a rookie. That's a little bit more advanced. But just because you brought up the Joe Burrow film, it's beautiful to me. When I see that type of play from the quarterback, I just smile every time.
Yeah, and I know the chat's gonna voice their opinions on where Burrow stands and this and that. Regardless, though, for me personally, I mean, he's been consistently a top 5 quarterback now for a couple years in a row, and I mean, he's made the Super Bowl and everything like that. So even a check down Charlie, if that's what he is, that's what Tom Brady was most of his career too. As long as you're efficient and you do it at the right times and the clutch moments and things like that, efficiency is what's shown to actually win the most. So yeah, I mean, you're hard to deal with then consistently, you know what I mean? And then if you just limit your turnovers, yeah, you can walk up and down a lot of teams.
But I mean, like, and I gotta remember your chat is very live. Like you're getting Josh Allen versus Joe Burrow comps. Dude, Josh Allen is nice if you want a turnover machine. He does not protect the football as a quarterback. You
It's a
need to
completely
protect
different
the football.
style, though. That's what it is. Like we're comparing apples to oranges, even though they're both fruit.
That's what I like about Caleb a lot. That I feel like is being overlooked. He won't turn that football over. I don't care about. So remember, I just docked him about the 3 straight or 2 straight 3 and outs. He didn't turn that ball over. Caleb will take care of that football. I can guarantee you that. He won't have more than, let's say, remember I said it here. He won't have more than 7, let's say 8 interceptions. I'll give him 8. He won't. It just won't
Wow.
happen. It won't
Okay,
happen. I don't think it will.
so let's get into the numbers. Give me your numbers. Give me your season stats on Caleb. Because I'm still the guy that's at like 3,500 yards. And I think that's just due to the balance I see on this team overall. Like, I don't think we're going to be very pass offensive heavy. I think, but 3,500 yards is still a lot. So, what do you think?
3,500. I think that's on a good season. That's a pretty good season for Caleb Williams. Before I go, touchdowns. Do you got touchdowns? Do you got any touchdowns? Passing touchdowns with that 3,500? I just want to.
I think we're mid 20s, 26, I'll say. And then for me, it's always just have less interceptions than that. So if we have 10 interceptions, 26 touchdowns, or 25 touchdowns, I'm happy with that ratio.
Caleb Williams rookie year for me. I would say you say 35 on a good year, and things are clicking because I don't think this offense will click like we think week 1, not even week 2. But if things are clicking all through the season, we know that buzzsaw of a schedule we got from week 11 to week 18.
Yeah, it's tough. It's crazy that there's no division games early on.
Give me look, I want to be like, because 3,500 is like the sweet spot. You know what I mean? If you believe in Caleb, I know some people who don't believe in Caleb, they'll put it lower. But I'll see your 3,500. I think Vegas got him at 25 touchdowns, 25 and a half touchdowns. I think Vegas has him at. But I'll go 30. Look, if things go well for Caleb in this team, I'll go 4,000 yards easy. And let's go 20. He won't get 30. I'll say about 27 touchdowns, 27, 28 touchdowns. That's if everything goes well, which I don't think will happen, especially the first 3 games. Realistically, I'll give Caleb 32, 33. That's like a game or two, you know what I mean? Compared to your 3,500, that's like a game or two, especially in today's league when you'll be throwing the ball a shit ton. I do think we're gonna run the ball more than people think.
As well as special teams. I mean, if this kicker is what everybody says he is, then we're going to be playing a short field quite often, right? So that limits the amount of yardage you can get.
Yes. So I'll go 32. I'll go 32 on a realistic year. 32, 33, 35. I could, you know what I mean? I'm playing with pennies. I'm playing with games. One game, he might have a breakout game, but I'll go 32, 33, and I see J2K in the chat. He agrees. 3,200. He 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions is steep. I don't think Caleb will. I think he's going to protect that football like it's his wife or his children. I think he's going to value it a lot more than we've seen in the past. Justin didn't really turn the ball over too much, so I can't really put that on him. But I'll go 32, 33. Let me give my touchdowns. I'll say 27 touchdowns. Let's go 8 interceptions. I'll give you 8. I'll give you 8 interceptions.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that would still be a very successful season. I mean, I think if your floor is 200 yards a game or like 180 yards a game, it's a pretty good spot to start for your rookie year. Like I said, it's the consistency that matters. So you're going to have some up games, you're going to have some down games, but I think what kind of made me change my opinion a little bit, and it's not going to be stat wise. It's just going to be like opinion wise. Is I think I realized that the floor on him is a little bit higher than I thought. I think the potential's out of this world. We'll see if he can reach it. But I think, my problem with Justin was always that his floor was really low. When it was bad, it was terrible. So I'm not sure how much terrible we're going to get from Caleb. And I think that's a good thing for a rookie quarterback and, the potential for him to progress. So, yeah, awesome, man. Thanks for that prediction. And, yeah, any closing thoughts before we play the outro and get out of here? Thanks again for joining us, man. Like I said, I love your podcast. People got to check it out. You guys do good work. It's a fun conversation. So I recommend it to anybody and everybody at the Black Bear Podcast.
And like I said at the top of the show, I appreciate you having me. Like he just said, look, subscribe to the channel, the Black Bear Podcast. One word, no spaces, the Black Bear Podcast. But look, yes, I do have a little just on Caleb, because I see your chat. I don't see it. It's the eye test. You know what I mean? It's all about the eye test. Caleb does not strike me as a guy, from what I have seen, and I was at a couple training camps as well. He doesn't strike me as a guy who will who's going to throw interceptions. You know what I mean?
Wasn't it a knock on him in his college career, though, that he fumbles a lot?
How many fumbles did he have? What's a lot?
I'm not sure on the numbers, but that's one thing I kind of remember being out there a little bit, because it was one of the more things I cared about a little bit more than some of the other stuff that was out there about him, like the personal stuff. Yeah, I didn't care. But yeah, I've heard from the game point of view that one of the things was that he had some fumbles, but I mean, it didn't matter because he made up for it and then some. So, yeah, there's going to be mistakes, of course, but yeah, I think being careful is one thing he kind of expressed during the pro day a little bit, because he went out there and like the first throw he made, he like rolled out, made one of those throws right before going out of the sideline. And then for the rest of the pro day, he did all the boring stuff, all the touch passes, all the little things. And he's like, I'm not just my highlights. Right. I can do both. I can sit there and be safe and effective if that's what you need me to do, but I can also do that.
Look, I just want to show a little your chat. I love your chat. The guys were in the chat, putting their 2 cents in there. I like that. It helps the show go along and gives you talking points. But look, the fumbles. You're first of all, you're a quarterback. You know what I mean? People want. Just imagine if you're looking down the field trying to look at a tight end and 3 wide receivers out there, and a guy comes up because your left tackle or right tackle got beat and just knocks the ball out of your hand. That's not your fault. Everybody who's watching this stream right now will fumble the ball. You know what I mean? I get it. That's not the case every time. I wouldn't look at fumbles too quick for quarterbacks. You know what I mean? It happens. That's not their job. The interceptions is what I'm talking about. We've seen Aaron Rodgers do it, not throw too many interceptions. It's rare for Patrick Mahomes to throw 2 in a game. He does it, obviously, but it's not often. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times he's done it in his career. I think we got, more importantly than just this generational talent everybody likes to talk about when it comes to Caleb Williams, the turnovers, specifically the interceptions will be low. Now, Justin didn't throw, in my opinion, a lot of interceptions. So I'm not saying he just was a turnover heavy machine, but Caleb will take care of that football. You know what I mean? And if our defense holds up, it'll give him a second chance on some of those 3 and outs, which I think it will hold up. Now that's a whole nother conversation, but
yeah,
under 10 interceptions for sure.
For sure. And I like that prediction. Yeah, it just speaks to how balanced this team really is. I think as long as you're just safe and don't lose games, the rest of the team is good enough to win them. So, yeah, everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much for joining us. Like I said, this wasn't planned at all. We just kind of, I messaged him, hey, you free? And he said, sure. And so we had some time together, and I just wanted to talk some Bears football with Mark here from the Black Bear Podcast and everybody else in chat. But we're getting later and later here, so we're going to call it a night. We're an hour in, and yeah, bear down, everybody. Thanks for joining us.